I gotta prep. The almighty bug type. What is good about bug? Um, well, we'll start off with it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough going for bug. It's definitely been it's better off than it used to be. Bug was pretty much the worst type in the game for maybe even like early gens. It was terrible. Granted, it was like one of the few checks on psychic and dark. Dark was really strong then too. It was one of the few checks on that, and it still is. But I think if you go back to my other psychic or dark vids, those types are not that common in terms of like um, being like walls or anything. So uh, you don't really need to have them. Bug type is a really easy type to access, though. It's probably one of the easiest types to get like on any Pokemon. Electric Pokemon can learn Signal Beam, and then, like X Scissors, anything with claws can learn it. So it's a really easy type to grab hold of and like get. We'll go over the bug actual page. I should note that bug uh, bug Jesus, is really gimmicky. So bugs, I probably will go over this more in the move set or the move pool. Bug as a type is probably, I would argue, is the gimmick. Like it relies on the most gimmicks out of any type in the game to succeed. If you have an actual bug type, now I'm not saying like the moves or anything. I think a bug Pokemon, since they have such low base stat totals, I think they have the lowest overall base stat total. I mean, this is pretty garbage. Like 50 HP and oh, that's fully evolved. 67 HP, not too much. They're usually decently quick and they have pretty good special defense. Um, I think their base stat total is like 469, which is garbage. I think it's really low if I remember correctly. So um, it has really low base stat total. So how it overcomes and wins matches is it has to use like gimmicks, and I'll like each Pokemon in that tree. Like you can almost go to like each like bug Pokemon and like pick out its gimmick. That's how you know. So like Rock is just like okay, like it's defensive. You like it has that defensive foothold. I say Rock's defensive. Okay, I always bring up Rock in these Pokemon ones, but like you get what I'm saying. Like Dragon's known for being like offensive, trying to pump you up and get in there. Same with like fighting. They're just like strictly offensive types. Poison and Steel are like, defensive, and they have some disable moves, but like Steel's like the stalwart defensive type, and like Grass has like you know status moves and healing moves on lockdown. But Bug has like just all kinds of gimmicks that it can use to like win matches, and we'll go over those once we get to the move pool list. But we'll talk about the defensive and offensive powers of Bug. I already kind of alluded to this that um, Bug. We're gonna remember don't go over Gen 1 because that doesn't apply anymore. But Bug was one of the few checks on Psychic back in the day. It was one of the few things that could actually kill it. But there was only 3 bug moves, so it didn't really matter. And then that all changed in Gen 2. They switched it around and such. So Bug hits Dark, Psychic, and Grass offensively, um, which is pretty good. Don't. Oh wow, they changed this too. I gotta actually look at the differences. Okay, they make Fairy. Did they add Fairy? And that's all they did? Okay. We'll go over that. I don't know if I already started off with this. I think I already kind of did. Bug, to me, is in like top 5 worst types, maybe top 3. I think if you're Ice, Bug, and Rock, you're in for a world of pain. Now, Bug has gimmicks that can overcome those, other than the other two, more than the other two. I think it kind of helps it out a little bit, but Bug has a lot of problems. It starts offensively. So Dark and Psychic, I kind of already said this. There are a lot of Pokemon that just have Dark and Psychic kind of like tagged on randomly, which is good to hit. And since bug moves are really accessible, you can hit those. But the flaw is that I think I mentioned in the Psychic and Dark vid, they're usually not like walls or anything. Usually you get bug type moves to get stab, or since bugs moves are so common and they hit like weird thing, like bug type hits like weird things. Like grass is a really good type to hit, but a lot of grasses that you're hitting are also poison. Where you do half damage. I think like a lot of the grasses that you're trying to hit are types that block bug. So yeah, bug offensively is not that good. It hits a lot of things neutral, and it hits this tree, like the ghost, psychic. I'm not gonna say ghost because they're down here, but sure. 1 second. But bug offensively. Okay, so the train starts here. Look how many things that bug tries to attack and like does nothing against. I'll point that out. Okay, sorry, I had to finish something real quick. Okay, so bug offensively, like Jesus Christ, fairy. This is the most resistant. Like everything is resistant to bug. Like Jesus Christ, fairy, fighting, fire, flying, ghost, poison, steel. There's some common things here. Poison and steel, really good defensive types. Very common. Ghost is also a pretty good defensive type too. So you're already hitting bad things, and we've already seen a bunch of flying in our last vid. That flying hitting that bad is also not great. Bug, if you're using a bug move, which I already pointed out, you kind of just tack it on just for the sake of it for hitting these when they come around. If you use bug incorrectly, you're doing half damage a chunk of the time. More than any other type in the game, you're doing no damage because of this half damage thing. So bug offensively has a lot of problems already. Lots of problems. So offensively, bug is pretty weak. It's good if you have stab, and it's good just to have like it just in case for psychic and dark, because a lot of types don't hit those or touch those. They don't really like access that part of the type pool, if it makes any sense. Like psychic, dark, and ghost are kind of like their own thing, and bug kind of like encroaches on that like little goons. They try to enter the smart squad. I don't know why bug is just thrown in there, but it is. It just has access to that kind of circle. If there's it's like it's its own click, the dark psychic ghost click, and bug's like creeping in, being a little creep. So that's what I'm trying to, I guess, get at. But it hits all of these terribly, which is not great. And I think it's like one of the few types that like does half damage against a type, but the type does half damage back at it. It's really strange. Usually it's super effective, and vice versa. So yeah, that's not great. So bug offensively, not the best. Considering a lot of these types are really popular. Fairy, poison, steel, ghost, flying are very popular types, and then these two are okay. Defensively, I will give bug credit. Bug has some pretty good defensive options in some regards. We're not going to look at flying and rock because those are really common moves, and we'll talk about this part, the bad part, after we talk about some good things about bug finally. Fighting is a very good type to resist. It's one of the more common physical type sets you'll run into. I would say physically, for physical move pools, bug's not that bad defensively. It becomes tricky when you're dealing with rock, but taking half damage from fighting and ground is exceptional, especially earthquakes, which is huge. So that's really, really good. That's good for bug. Grass is also, there's some grass moves, energy ball, solar beams, and leaf storms and stuff, which is nice to take, but they're not as common as the other two. But grass resistance, I don't think many things resist grass, actually. I think like actually I shouldn't have said that. I think steel, poison do. So never mind. So yeah, fighting and ground are good ones to pick up. However, it comes at a cost. It comes at a significant cost because all three of these moves are really easy to get: fire, flying, and rock. Stealth rock. Oh shit. Yeah. Bug is one of the types that gets hit by stealth rock, and that crushes it. That absolutely crushes it. A large chunk of bugs do not have flying's case where their type bails them out. A lot of them get destroyed by rocks because a lot of them are flying rock or bug flying, and they just get like 4 times up the asshole. So that's not great. And flying moves are really easy to get. It's not hard to get like aerial ace or something. I mean, if you have aerial ace, whatever. But yeah, it's a rough life. Rock slide, stone edge, and then flamethrower. Like fire is a really easy to type to get offensively, and it's a pretty good type offensively to have because it busts steals. It's one of the few things that can hit steel, so it's a good type to have. So you run into fire attacks actually a lot, hidden power fire, etc. So defensively, I'd say bug is at more of a weakness with these than the offensive or the pluses that these give, which really stinks. And it's the same for over here too. So that's already some bad things in Bug's corner in terms of being a type. I think what it resists and what it hits is not cover for what it takes from both of these. Stealth Rock is probably one of the biggest ones. And like I said, unlike flying, there aren't many like Bug Steals, Bug Grounds, or something like that that kind of like rectify or save it. And they don't have the synergy that Bug Flying do, or Flying Ground do, where they can avoid like electric, or the other way they can avoid ice. They don't have that synergy. Like, so they like these. If there was a Bug Ground or if there was a Bug Steel, they don't have the like the other type. The opposite type is not helping them as much as the other type is helping flying, for instance, in my previous video. So Bug, not that great and so far. Yeah, they have really low defenses, so their base stat total is also not helping them either. So whenever they do get hit, they usually get one shot. Yeah, see, worst offensive types, and then it's going to say 2 types with defensive, but yeah, they're really good against fighting types, Bugs. I will say that. Okay, so we'll go over specific move sets for Bugs, because that's where they really shine in terms of their gimmicks. It's almost like you have to talk about individual Bugs themselves to kind of to go over like why Bug is actually a salvageable type. So I might do some like examples of Bugs that maybe aren't in OU, but I might just do that in the move set itself. So let's try talking about it. Bug Bite. Bug Buzz is your generic special offensive type. It's solid, hits everything 90, 100 accuracy. Great. It's like your Ice Beam. And it also has the special defense, so it's like basically like a Shadow Ball, but for bugs. It's probably more useful than Shadow Ball hits things more neutral, but Bug Buzz hits things super effective. So pick your poison. But the special defense drop has bailed me out and saved me. It might help me today when I do some batches. So Bug Buzz, solid move. Can't complain. It's every Pokemon likes to have a move where it's just reliable and has something to do. So not bad. This move is specifically for Golisopod. That may be one of the Pokemon I talk about as a gimmick. Fairycoat, no. Infestation, no. Who cares? Leech Life got buffed. It used to do like 10 damage back in Gen 1. Now it does 80 and heals you. They really tried to make this move really good. It's basically the equivalent of a Drain Punch, but a little stronger in terms of damage. It's good. If you can learn that move as a bug and you try to like tank with it, it's not bad. Megahorn is the premier. It's the premier offensive physical move for bugs. It's a staple of Heracross, which is probably one of the best bug Pokemon in the game, and has been since it's been out. Same with I'm trying to think what else learns Megahorn. Some other, I think like Nidoking learns it, but if you can learn that physical move as a bug, you probably get it. And it's a really good stab move, and it hits things hard and has higher accuracy than a lot of these like super moves in terms of like it has a higher accuracy than Stone Edge, for example, at 85 instead of 80. Very good, very good. Pollen Puff, Quiver Dance. Okay, you can't talk about bugs without Quiver Dance. They added more Quiver Dancers since Gen 7 too, but Quiver Dance is the best status increase move in the game. It beats out Shell Smash and Dragon Dance in effectiveness. Shell Smash lowers your stats, and you have to have like White Powder or rectify that, which is like hopefully killing the guy before they hit you. Quiver Dance gives you 3 stats that increase, and one of them is special defense too, which is actually pretty handy, surprisingly. But it gives you special attack, special defense, and speed. If you can learn this move and you have a way to set it up, which I think if you have a bug Pokemon on your team or a bug team, one of your guys will be able to learn Quiver Dance. All of these like Moth and things with like wings and stuff can learn it. We'll go over each specific one, and that is basically one of the gimmicks for bug types is have Quiver Dance, and it's like I said, the best stat increaser in the game. If you have that move, that makes you dangerous no matter what. things can't just sleep on you. Now, a lot of Pokemon that can learn this don't have good stats, don't have the move pool to back it up to bail it out after you have that. But I don't know, dude. If you get 2 quivers off, you should be able to sweep any team. That's how strong having 2 special attacks and 2 speeds up is. So, always dangerous to have a quiver dancer. It's very frustrating to play against. It's almost like the equivalent of Dragon Dance. If you like, Dragon Dance is really good. Don't get me wrong, but if you like run into that and you have a bad turn where they get 1 free quiver off, if you don't have the answer right away or know they have quiver, you could lose the entire match based off that in a flash. So quivers are something that needs to be noted when you talk about bug. It ties directly into bug and makes them viable, some bugs viable in terms of using them. And it's sometimes the only way you can make a specific bug viable. We'll go over those when we get there. Signal Beam is the reliable. It is the shittier version of Ice Beam for it's if you can you get this if you can't learn Bug Buzz. Electric Pokemon can learn this move, and like for Magnezone, this is like the move they tag on, or Jolteon, or something like that. Or I'm trying to think of another Pokemon that learns that. I think like Electroviri can learn it too. So if you're learning like you want a bug move to take out Psychic and Dark for whatever reason, or you just want another viable move to tack on for your 4th move for a lot of these guys, you put on Signal Beam. It's not bad. Silver Wind's not that good. Okay, here we go. The next big one. I would argue that between this and Stealth Rock is the best entry hazard in the game, and that's Sticky Web. Only, I think, like 6 Pokemon can learn it. I think like 5, and only one of them is really good. I think Smeargle can learn it too, so which is pretty shitty. But it's like a bug. This move lowers your speed by 1 whenever something switches in, and that's insane. That's so good because that means if you lower something speed by 1, you pretty much outspeed that thing unless you're like learning tank on tank. So if you put up a special sweeper against a special sweeper, you'll have the advantage in speed automatically, basically, because a lot of sweepers and stuff are fast or offensive Pokemon. It just helps your offensive Pokemon be able to get maybe have the edge on something that they shouldn't have any edge on in the first place. And if you give any leg to an offensive Pokemon, they can take that and run with it. So Sticky Web is probably one of the best entry hazards. I would argue that it's very close with Stone Edge, or not Stone Edge, Stealth Rock. I would almost argue that it's better than Stealth Rock because it's so unique. Only 6 Pokemon can learn it. If there is more Pokemon that could learn this, you'd see it on every moveset, I think. Like, it's so good to have. I can't even specify how good it is. It's just that good to have a speed drop upon Pokemon. So I think it's the best one if you can get it, but only like 5 or 6 Pokemon can get it. And I think one of them's Joltik and the other one's like Smeargle, are the only 2 like popular learns. And then I know Shuckle can learn it, and I see him throw it. But that's other than that, like those are the only 3 you usually see that use that move. So Sticky Web is really good. If you can learn it and you can apply that, that's how that bug Pokemon already gets like much better just based off that. So there's one of the gimmicks as well. You can almost have Sticky Webbers as a gimmick as well. Tail Glow, I think only like a couple Pokemon can learn that. I think like the Firefly things can learn it, which are the 2. I think Manphy uses it better than both of them. So, funnily enough, it boosts your special attack by 2. It's like basically a nasty plot, but for bug. And then X-Scissor is your common. I'll talk about U-turn after X-Scissor. X-Scissor is a common. If you have claws, any Pokemon has claws or something like that can learn this. So that's a lot of Pokemon. In case you were wondering, a lot of things just have big meaty claws. So X-Scissor is the common physical move for bug that if you can't get Mega Horn, you're probably left with using your claws instead of horning it good. It's a very good move. Has crit. Crit's unreliable though, but it is what it is. And then lastly, U-turn. U-turns are arguably probably one of the better bug moves in the game. A lot of non-bugs can learn this, and it's good for scouting. Flying types can learn this as well, and basically if you have a fast Pokemon, you can U-turn and get out, scout, and they'll use a move, and you can check what move they were using for free without just taking a move, and you can do damage on the way out. That and Volt Switch are really good moves. It's a very similar concept. So you get like a free switch, and you get the. It's a very good scouting tool. Not bad at all. Lead Pokemon usually have it. Landorus usually has it, for example, because he can just check in, do damage on the way out with his huge, massive attack stat, and get out and then see what move they were going to use on you, and kind of make sure you have a follow-up answer for it, I guess. But other than that, I think we went over some of the gimmicks. Now, I will go over. Usually, I would jump straight into OU Pokemon for Bug, but I'm going to go over some specific gimmicks for Bugs right here. There's Quiver Dancers, so that includes Butterfree, that includes Vivillon, which is further down the line, I think, right here. Where is it? Newer ones, or old ones include, where is he? Doing this really hurts my eyes. Ribombee can learn Quiver Dance, and then I know there's another one. I can't remember it. Beautifly, I think, can, and Venomoth. So those guys are, we'll say like they're a clique called the Quiver Dancers, and then no, there's another one too. Volcarona can learn Quiver Dance too. We'll talk about him when we get to OU though. He's an OU. He's the only one that is an OU of the Quiver Dancers. All of those Pokemon that I listed before Volcarona have terrible stats. They also have terrible types. A lot of them are bug flying. I think all of them except for Venomoth and Ribombee are all have bad typing, and bug is not a great type to have since we already talked about that. So quivering with that bug, with the bug flying type, is already dangerous in itself because you're already probably taking damage from Stealth Rock on the way in. You're probably not going to be able to get that quiver off in the first place. But they have such low stats. Like, look at Butterfree's stats, for example. I'll just pick him. The stat total of Butterfree is, I don't know if it'll show it really early. It might not do the total, which kind of sucks. We'll just say, I think it's around like 400 at best, maybe like 390 or something like that. It just doesn't have any stats once you get that far anyway. So even if you get 2 quivers off, and then you use Bug Buzz and maybe, I don't know, Hurricane. I don't think it can learn Hurricane even. So, or Aerial, what's the Air Slash or whatever. So, like, and a normal Steel type can just block that off. Another thing is, bug types, since they have half damage against like everything in the game right here, if you get this quiver off, well, good luck, because now Butterfree still has to go through all of these types, and I don't think it can. That's another reason too. So you would think Quiver Dancer, like, even though if you do get 2 quivers off or 3 quivers off, you become a threat with these guys, but I don't think you're going to have the luxury of getting that off, especially in OU. You rarely ever get 1 off without dying, let alone 2 or something where you actually become a good Pokemon by then. So that's Quiver Dance gimmicks. If you can learn Quiver Dance and get it off and set it up correctly, you should win the match. But it's still really hard and dangerous to do. So that's how like Butterfree is even viable in the first place. I don't know anything else you can do with Butterfree but Quiver Dance. It's the same with Beautifly and such. Like, what else can you do with these guys? They have such terrible typing and everything else that not much. So we'll go over other gimmicky Pokemon. Then there's the I already kind of mentioned this, the Sticky Webbers. So the best Sticky Webber in the game, besides Smeargle, who's an OU, and he's not a bug. Funnily enough, the best Sticky Webber, which is a bug staple, is a non-bug. So that's how much people don't want to be a bug type. The best Sticky Webber, the best bug entry hazard in the game, probably the best entry hazard in the game, is on a non-bug Pokemon. That's saying something right there. Granted, Smeargle has other moves that it gets that sets it up, but the Sticky Webber gimmicky types are like Shuckle, they're your Garvantulas, they're your what's the other one? Ariados can learn it. Excuse me. And then I think Lavani can learn it, or Sawada or whatever. He can learn it too. So you're never going to see a couple of these guys ever in OU. This thing's stats, again, Ariodos's stats are really low. I think, again, its base stat total is maybe like 390, 400. It's not good. The problem is their base stat totals are terrible. The only one you'll ever see maybe is Shuckle, because he has really insane defenses and you can put like a Focus Sash or do other gimmicky stuff with it and live long enough that you can get a Sticky Web off. And then Shuckle does nothing else basically but have like Toxic or something like that. That's one. And then Galvantula can definitely make some waves too with Focus Sash. He's fast enough, that's why. He has the stats, and Electric's a pretty good type to attack with, and you can catch things off guard with like maybe Compound Eyes, Thunder. That's why Galvantula has some kind of leeway, but that's, again, a gimmick. Sticky Web with that. It's a gimmick that can definitely win you the game. I've lost games to Galvantula just using that move and then doing nothing else the rest of the game. Like, it didn't kill anything or it didn't do anything, but Sticky Web did me in. If you don't have prep for Sticky Web, it can be very dangerous. So that's another one right there. I'm trying to think if there's any more gimmicks. Like I could go over like each Pokemon has like a gimmick, for example, but I'm not going to do every one. So I'll pick some random ones, for example. Yanmega. We'll talk about Yanmega briefly here. So it just kind of represents like what bugs do. Yanmega is a gimmick. It is bug flying, so already bad typing right there. Stealth Rock will kill you. But it has two of the best abilities in the game in terms of Tinted Lens. You'll turn super effective. If you hit something that is not very effective, it turns it into effective, flat. So if you hit Steel or Rock with your bug move, it'll turn it to effective damage instead of not very effective. Very strong for sweepers. Incredibly strong, especially with a bug type, which hits things really terribly. Very, very good. And it also has speed boost. There's everything that's not a bug type. This is another fun fact. Every Pokemon that has speed boost that is not a bug type is either OU or Uber. I think Scolipede is actually borderline. So he's basically Uber, but not Uber. But everything that's not Yanmega or Ninjask is Uber with speed boost. Speed boost. Actually, I'm kind of incorrect with that because I think Sharpedo has it too, and Sharpedo is not that great either. But speed boost is an amazing ability. Blaziken Mega has it, I'm pretty sure, which is devastating. That's the biggest one that has speed boost and that move. So it's a gimmicky set, getting speed boost and protecting or something like that, and then you can go. But again, if you have speed boost and you protect and you get 2 speed boosts off, okay, great. What are you left with? You're left with a Yanmega that does no damage to anything with a bug and a flying move with terrible base stats. A gimmick, but a shitty one. You know what I'm saying? Like, bugs have to rely on gimmicks to do that. It's the same with Ninjask. Like, okay, you got your speed boost off, dude. Like, great, and you got your sub off. What can you do now? Show me. And a lot of the times the answer is I can't do anything. I'm sorry, Bugsy. Let's pick another one. Perfect. Shedinja. The gimmick is the most gimmick-based Pokemon in the entire game. It has 1 HP, as the best ability on in the game, where you can only be hit by super effective moves. Is that a best ability in the game? Probably. If you had it on any of the other Pokemon, that'd be really strong. Maybe. I'm not sure, actually. But Bug Ghost is... Basically, Shedinja can't die to anything but the moves that are super effective against it. Unfortunately, it is a bug type, so Stealth Rock, it'll die to entry hazards, or Toxic, or Weather, or stuff like that. Super, super, super gimmicky, but if they don't prep for that gimmick, if you don't have a bug, something that's super effective against bug, you built your team incorrectly, first of all, because that means you don't have a rock move at all on any of your team, or a fire move, which, again, I don't know how you get through any type without having those two on your move pool, but you see what I'm saying. I could keep doing this over and over again for every single bug in terms of like what they do. Golisopod, a very cool Pokemon. It's gimmick. You know what it is? It pops in first impression. It's the only Pokemon that can learn it. It's a 90 priority move, base power priority move. It uses that. It can only use it once, and then if it gets below a certain HP, it has emergency exit and has to leave. Again, strong in specific situations, but if you don't get that off, like okay, it's relying on a specific task to do to it's relying on a specific kind of way to win the game rather than normal like battling basically. You kind of it's like a game in itself for a lot of these bug Pokemon. A lot of them can learn Light Screen and stuff and support moves. They have status effect moves and stuff. Like Ladian can learn like, for example, like both screens or something like that. Bugs can be very supporty with Sticky Web. They have a lot of status moves. I think like they have access to like grass status moves and stuff. And like I said, a lot of psychic moves. Strangely enough, Bugs can learn, and psychic is a very utility-based type. It can learn a lot of stuff like that. So I think I got my point across in terms of like their gimmicks, though. I think Bugs just try to make up for their terrible base stat total and terrible offensive and defensive capabilities by using a very good move pool, probably one of the better move pools in the game, in terms of like what it can do in terms of support, and it has like all of the things you really need out of it. But if those gimmicks don't work, you start to have it starts to fall apart right there for them. So there we go. I guess that kind of clears things up a little bit. Now I'll talk about bug Pokemon in terms of the OU scene. I already kind of alluded to one specifically that's going to be in there. It's a Quiver Dancer. We'll go to him because I know he might be the only bug in this OU tier. I thought there was one more. Let me look. So you're not seeing any bugs. You're not seeing any bugs. Okay, there's only one bug Pokemon that is OU. One bug. That's it. Remember how I said bugs have really bad base stat totals? Forget everything I said about that for Volcarona. This thing, probably one of my least favorite things to verse. And that's saying something. Like, out of all of this stuff, like, I hate a lot of things in this. Like, a lot of Battle Beasts I don't like and stuff like that. Oh, no, I forgot Scizor. We'll talk about him. But Volcarona is really frustrating whenever you see it, because you know exactly every single time Volcarona has the same moveset, because you can only run one moveset on this fucking thing. You can only do one thing with it. Now, granted, it's really good at what it does. It wins games. If you get a Quiver Dance or two off with Volcarona, game's over. Game is 100% over. Because it has, unlike a lot of other Pokemon that I mentioned that have Quiver Dance, Butterfree, your Pavilions. Look at that. Actually, I want to look at Butterfree right here. Butterfree has 395 base stat total. Okay, cool. But look at what Volcarona brings you. It brings you a very good secondary type in terms of fire. I know there's something, an asterisk by that. But, like, fire is a very good offensive type. Flamethrower and Fiery Dance. Fiery Dance is its signature move, by the way, which is only Volcarona can learn it. I'm pretty sure, at least. Let me look at it. And Fiery Dance does... Let me look. Where is it? Probably by the Fs. 80, and then it also 50% chance to boost your special attack even more. 50% chance. So, like, yeah, it technically does less damage than Flamethrower, but, like, you can make your thing even more devastating. I think they should have Fire Blast, but a lot of them have Fiery Dance because they're greedy as shit. It's a lot of people, actually. A lot of people are really greedy with their move pools and stuff. But yeah, Volcarona has the stats to back it up. 100 speed is no joke. 135 special attack is no joke. And 105 special defense is also not bad either. And guess what? All three of these get quivered up and go 1 or 2 stages up, and you got a devastating Pokemon right there. Now, if Volcarona was not weak to Stealth Rock, I don't know if it would even be in OU. I think this might be a bit of a exaggeration. It could be Uber, I think, if it wasn't weak to Stealth Rock or Rock type. I think Rock type's the only thing that keeps it in check. In terms of keeps it in OU. I'm pretty confident in saying that. If it didn't have that Rock type check, it would be devastating. But thankfully, Stealth Rock can stop Volcarona. But you'll see a lot of Volcaronas actually switching really early when they know you're going to potentially Stealth Rock up. And if you have one wrong move against this thing, the game is over. So that's why it's an OU. We'll talk about the other one. Actually, I forgot Pinsir too, but I mentioned him in another video. Pinsir, we're not going to go over too much about him. Basically, He turns normal moves into stab flying moves, and thankfully it's stab flying over bug, because if it was the other way around, I don't think Pinsir would be as good. 155 attack should be enough to, and 105 speed should be enough to explain why it's an OU. I shouldn't have to say anything else. Granted, again, it's 4 times the Stealth Rock, but it has such good stats. And 120 defense is also really good too. So, like, defensively, it's not even that bad. It's really hard to take this thing down, and it's got stab quick attack as well, which is really strong. So, yada yada yada. The only other one I remember is Scizor. Where is he at? Caesar, if you want to call him that. And he has 600 base stat total as well. Very good physical side of the stats. This thing is a monster in terms of if it gets hit by, and special defense is 100 too. That's nothing to scoff at either. Basically, unless it's getting hit by a fire move, it's really hard to take this thing down. And Technician's a really good move. It makes your bullet punches hurt like shit. I think they do double damage, maybe. I think it becomes like 40 to 80. So an 80 boosted power stab from 150 attack already sounds juicy right there. That sounds so juicy, like a peach. But that's a lot of damage. So Technician-based bullet punches are really strong. And Steel's a really good type to be paired with like anything in the game, because Steel might be one of the best types in the game. But yeah, it has really good stats and really good moves, and that's a great ability. Again, I don't think it's really bug type that really pushes it into OU, but you get what I'm saying. I think a lot of these are not in here because of their bug. I think it's because their move pools. So I guess that could be argued for bug. But like if Pinsir was like poison flying instead of bug flying, I think it would just be just as good, if not better. I think it would actually be better. Or Scizor, if it was like poison steel, would it be better? Probably. You could almost make that case. I mean, offensively it wouldn't hit the same things, but hey, I'm trying to be as controversial as I can. We'll go over Borderline because there's a bunch of Pokemon in here that are bug. Buzzwole is a battle beast, so 139 attack and 107 there. Scizor's just a better version of this, so that kind of explains why. Where's this? Heracross has Skill Link and 185 attack, so that's devastating. There you go. That's why it's in there. So you can take Bullet Seeds and Rock Blast and just insta-kill things. And then lastly, I thought there was... Oh, here, Scolipede, as I mentioned before. Stat total is not that impressive. 112 speed and 100 attack would be like a normal sweeper. Where it gets its boost is speed boost. Use the boost to speed. No, speed boost makes this thing really good. Other than that, it's unimpressive. So that's basically bug in OU. That's why a lot of them are in, or that's why so few are in OU, and the ones that are in there rely more on their specific skill set rather than being bug type itself. I think bug is one of the worst types in the game. I think its move pool barrels it out. Base stat total is really low. It's the lowest average, I believe. So not much going for it, but it does have its niches. So yeah, that's my kind of wrap up on bug. So we're going to go over my specific bug team.